Hello. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, mga ka-awesome, mga ka-ABC. Welcome back to another episode of Daily R's where we read, reflect, and respond to the Word of God. Daily R's, yung tatlong R, no, na lagi natin ginagawa, which help us in our reflection every night. And when we read the scriptures, the Bible, this is our way of feeding our spiritual bodies for it to stay healthy, stay, masigla, mabusog-lusog tuwing gabi, no? We read from history because currently we are reading from the book of Judges, and this is everything that had happened before, wherein nababasa natin yung nature ni God and also the nature, our nature, the human nature, our human tendencies, and how God is dealing with them. And tonight we are going to read chapter 18 of the book of Judges. Kagabi, we read about Micah, chapter 17. Quite short reading. Ngayon, gabi, we're going to read 31 verses focusing on the Danites. So, ayan. At kasama ko dito sa stream ngayon ay si Ate Ces, si Ate Frances. Alright. Ayun siya.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. How are you today?
Ayun, how are you guys? Comment nyo dyan, kumusta daw kayo? Ate Ces, how are you? How you been?
I'm okay. I'm happy kasi nakapag-gym ulit ako today after more than a week. So sana tuloy-tuloy na every day. And yan, how about you, P.O.?
Yun, ako din. Kakatapos ko lang mag-workout. Medyo nangangala yung likod ko pa pero all's good. Diba? Exercise is always good. And awesome. So pareho tayong masakit ang katawan ngayon.
Legs naman ako.
Ay, okay. Alright, ayun. So, mga ka-awesome. Kayo naman, kumusta kayo dyan? Update nyo kami sa comments. Ayun, nauna na rin si Frances na good evening. Awesome evening, everyone. Alright, hanggang sa comments, present siya. Dapat kayo din, mga ka-awesome. Comment naman kayo dyan. Si Kuya Jesse, and dyan na rin, of course. Hi, hello. Hi, Kuya. And it's si Ate Ken. Hello din sa'yo, Ate Ken, and si Ate Leah, of course, na nasa YouTube all the time. Let's go, awesome Daily R's, beautiful people. Ayun. And si Kuya JD, ready na siya. And of course, si Ate Kat. Good evening, mga ka-ABC. Ready for tonight? Praying that the Lord will give us wisdom and knowledge as we read, reflect, and respond. Awesome indeed. And hindi pa tayo, wala pang night na we ended empty, no? So every single night we get something from our reading, our reflection. So God has been awesome. And He is awesome, right? God has been good. Hello, Kat. Hello, Kat. And si Mother Dear, nandito na rin siya. Good evening din sa'yo, ma. Sino pa? Yun. Hello, Lola. Good evening, La. Ayan. Medyo mabagal yung pasok. No? Walang problema. Bigyan natin silang time na pumasok. So, while people are coming in and logging in, quick recap muna tayo from last night. Nabanggit ko nga na we read from Micah and the Levite. So dito, nabasa natin, quite short reading. Pero ang lala nung nangyari nung nabasa natin because, yes, Micah and his mother parang kind of meant well, di ba? They are acknowledging the Lord. They want to worship the Lord, pero their ways are kind of skewed. Their ways are not the ways of the Lord. Kumbaga, hindi na siya akma dun sa commands ni God, yung mga statutes, laws na binigay ni God before. Kasi dito, si Micah, kumuha siya ng, ilan yun? 5 pounds of silver and binigay niya sa silversmith. Pinagawa niya ng idol made of silver. Diba? For yung intention niya, it was good. Because he wanted to be with the Lord, to serve, to worship the Lord. The problem is, hindi kasi sila pwedeng gumawa ng idols, diba? So we can see that the influence of the Canaanites living with them, among them, that they allowed it to happen is now showing effect. Kasi this is sa Bible ko about 300 years I think had passed, since they entered the land. Ngayon pa lang nila nararamdaman yung talagang saklap nung consequence of them allowing the Canaanites to live among them, to cohabit with the Canaanites, despite the Lord giving them the command, a strict command, to really flush them out, drive them out, destroy all the pagan practices in that land so that they would stay pure. They compromised on that command. So ito yung mga consequences of those now. So yun, nagpagawa siya ng silver idol. Tapos, ito yung verse 6, no? So chapter 17, dito nag-revolve, and ito yung, kumbaga, ano bang tawag doon? Key verse of everything that we're about to read from here on out, no? So verse 6, sabi, in those days, there was no king in Israel. So, walang king, no judge, no leader, and everyone did whatever seemed right to him. So, kumbaga, parang free for all ang dating. Ito, parang sa loob-loob ko, parang tama naman. So, I will do it for the Lord, or I will do it for myself, ganun. So, no one's leading them, no one's judging over them and ruling over them. So, everyone to their own beliefs or principles or standards. And emphasize nila Joey and kagabi, diba, that we have to uphold the standards of God, because that is what that's what will keep us away from sinning and na mapapalayo tayo kay Lord. So we have to uphold His standards, His way of living, the lifestyle that He expects us to live. Yun. And hindi rin naman siya nagkulang kung ano ba yung standards niya, anong klaseng lifestyle yun. Andito, ayan, and we read about Jesus, and that's it, the life of Jesus, that's it. That's the standard. He is the standard. Quite high, but then again, we don't do it alone. We do it with Him. Ayan, no? Pero dito, yun nga, they just follow what they think is right, and sadly, it is still happening today, di ba? Yung mga common sayings or beliefs or way of living na okay lang, basta wala akong naapakang tao, ganon, di ba? Tapos, you think that is right, you think that is worshiping the Lord, but there's way more into it. There's way more into worshiping the Lord and really being obedient to Him. So we really need to get to know the Lord and His standards. Hindi pwedeng feeling natin tama na siya. So standards natin yun, di ba? So we have to be careful with that, because it happened years ago, diba, with Micah, with the Israelites, and sadly, it's still happening today. So what does that mean? We haven't learned, diba? Or we are repeating history, which is, we're supposed to learn from history, diba? And then after that, so verse 7 onwards, yung Levite naman. So there's this Levite from Bethlehem in Judah who was staying within the clan of Judah. Pero the man left the town of Bethlehem in Judah to stay wherever he could find a place. So, maganda rin yung point ni Kuya Jesse dito last night na before, the Levites were to be taken care of. Diba? Because wala silang land. Kasi the Lord is their inheritance. Wala silang in-inherit na lupa. So, kalat sila among the tribes to serve as spiritual leaders for the Israelites. Pero dito, parang hindi na sila naaalagaan, tapos hindi na sila aligned with the Lord. Kasi umalis na siya sa land of Bethlehem. Naghahanap na siya ng lupa na pwede niyang pagtirahan, no? Kumbaga, wala na. Parang bulak-bulak ganun ang dating. No permanent address ang dating. Diba? Ngayon, nakita siya ni Micah. So Micah asked him to be his priest, to be his father, and to serve, parang to be with Micah. Sabi niya sa verse 10, "Stay with me and be my father and priest, and I will give you 4 ounces of silver a year." May sahod pa siya, no? "Along with your clothing and provisions." So the Levite went in and agreed to stay with the man. So the Levite agreed with Micah. Ito, ang nabasa ko dito is symbolizes the downfall of Israelite, symbolized is it symbolized? Represented by Micah. No, talagang spiritual downfall na yung nangyari. Yung belief nila, yung standards nila, yung laws and commands ni God, wala na. So, they want to worship the Lord, but they're doing the wrong things in doing so. And also the Levites, spiritual downfall na din because of the attitude of this Levite, wherein nag-agree siya na magpabayad, nag-agree siya to be a priest, and this is not accurate anymore on how a Levite should be, right? Tapos he also agreed, Micah, knowing that Micah has this idol made of silver, this Levite agreed to stay with Micah instead of, di ba, guiding Micah, telling Micah, no, why do you have an idol? Blah, 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 blah. No, he found a place where he could stay, so he agreed on that. So even the Levites, so in the entire Israelite nation is now on a spiritual downfall, which is tuloy-tuloy nating mababasa yan even tonight. And ito yung napag-sharean ko rin kagabi, which is very connected to what we're going to read tonight. So sa verse 13, then Micah said, now I know that the Lord will be good to me because a Levite has become my priest. So sabi ko kagabi, which is talagang yun yung pumapasok sa isip ko. Parang anting-anting ang dating ng Levite. No? Pagka meron tayong something that is religious or we think is holy, then we are bulletproof. Then the Lord will be good to us. Just because we have that. Diba? Not because of our way of living, not because of our heart, but it is because we have that. Diba? So, anting-anting talaga ang dating. Diba? Parang panday lang. Parang so, we have to, again, we have to check our hearts. Are we really living a life worthy of the Lord? Kasi we can call ourselves Christians all day long, pero calling ourselves Christians does not make us bulletproof. It is our heart. If our heart's with the Lord, then we are bulletproof. Diba? We are protected by Him. So have that right relationship with the Lord. So basically yun. And ang dami pa mga sharing from last night's reading natin sa buhay ni Micah. And tonight, we are going to continue with chapter 18. Ayan. So Dan's invasion and idolatry. So tuloy-tuloy na yung idolatry dyan and pagan practices. So if you have your Bibles with you, open it to chapter 18. Babasahin natin yan ngayong gabi. And kung ready na kayo, type awesome. Awesome, awesome. Batiin ko lang yung mga humabol. Si Ate Shoni, hello, good evening po sa inyo. And of course, si Kuya Jesse, let Jesus be Lord, Savior, and King. O yun, isa pang takeaway yan last night. Yung may nadugtungan pa yan pero panoorin nyo na lang. Yung video, andyan lang yan sa YouTube and ito sa Facebook page. And si Jeremy, nasa YouTube as always. Hello, Kuya Jeremy, good evening and awesome din. Si Rian, awesome evening, everyone. Si Josh, dito na rin. Kuya Josh, hello, awesome evening, sabi niya. Nag-awesome na sila. Alright. Arnel, hello, hello. Blessed Eve, awesome and fruitful night. It's gonna be. Reading natin tonight. Wow, medyo mind-blown tayo dyan. And si Dad, awesome evening. Hello, Dad. And go-awesome sila. Ayan. So, ready na sila. Ate Ses, I think ready ka na rin magbasa.
Awesome.
Sige, let's go. Ayan. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, so Judges 18. In those days, there was no king in Israel, and the Danite tribe was looking for territory to occupy. Up to that time, no territory had been captured by them among the tribes of Israel. So the Danites sent out 5 brave men from all their clans, from Zorah and Eshtaol, to scout out the land and explore it. They told them, "Go and explore the land." They came to the hill country of Ephraim as far as the home of Micah and spent the night there. While they were near Micah's home, they recognized the accent of the young Levite. So they went over to him and asked, "Who brought you here? What are you doing in this place? What is keeping you here?" He told them, "This is what Micah has done for me. He has hired me, and I became his priest." Then they said to him, "Please inquire of God for us to determine if we will have a successful journey." The priest told them, "Go in peace. The Lord is watching over the journey you are going on." Verse 7, the 5 men left and came to Laish. They saw that the people who were there were living securely in the same way as the Sidonians, quiet and unsuspecting. There was nothing lacking in the land and no oppressive ruler. They were far from the Sidonians, having no alliance with anyone. When the men went back to their relatives at Zorah and Eshtaol, their relatives asked them, "What did you find out?" They answered, "Come on, let's attack them, for we have seen the land and it is very good. Why wait? Don't hesitate to go and invade and take possession of the land. When you get there, You will come to an unsuspecting people and spacious land, for God has handed it over to you. It is a place where nothing on earth is lacking. 600 Danites departed from Zorah and Eshtaol, armed with weapons of war. They went up and camped at Kiriath Jearim in Judah. This is why the place is still called the Camp of Dan today. It is west of Kiriath Jearim. From there, they traveled to the hill country of Ephraim and arrived at Micah's house. Verse 14. The 5 men who had gone to scout out the land of Laish told their brothers, "Did you know that there are an ephod, household gods, and a carved image and silver idol in these houses? Now think about what you should do." So they detoured there and went to the house of the young Levite at the home of Micah and greeted him. The 600 Danite men were standing by the entrance of the city gate, armed with their weapons of war. Then the 5 men who had gone to scout out the land went in and took the carved image, the ephod, the household idols, and the silver idol, while the priest was standing by the entrance of the city gate with the 600 men armed with weapons of war. Verse 18. When they entered Micah's house and took the carved image, the ephod, the household idols, and the silver idol, the priest said to them, "What are you doing?" They told him, "Be quiet, keep your mouth shut. Come with us and be a father and a priest to us. Is it better for you to be a priest for the house of one person, or for you to be a priest for a tribe and family in Israel?" So the priest was pleased and took the ephod, household idols, and carved image and went with the people. They prepared to leave, putting their dependents, livestock, and possessions in front of them. Verse 22. After they were some distance from Micah's house, the men who were in the houses near it were mustered and caught up with the Danites. They called to the Danites, who turned to face them, and said to Micah, "What's the matter with you that you mustered the men?" He said, "You took the gods I had made and the priest and went away. What do I have left? How can you say to me, 'What's the matter with you?'" The Danite said to him, "Don't raise your voice against us, or angry men will attack you, and you and your family will lose your lives." The Danites went on their way, and Micah turned to go back home, because he saw that they were stronger than he was. After they had taken the gods Micah had made and the priests that belonged to him, they went to Laish, to a quiet and unsuspecting people. They killed them with their swords and burned the city. There was no one to rescue them because it was far from Sidon and they had no alliance with anyone. It was in a valley that belonged to Beth Rehob. They rebuilt the city and lived in it. They named the city Dan, after the name of their ancestor Dan, who was born to Israel. The city was formerly named Laish. Verse 30. The Danites set up the carved image for themselves. Jonathan, son of Gershom, son of Moses, and his sons were priests for the Danite tribe until the time of the exile from the land. So they set up for themselves Micah's carved image that he had made, and it was there as long as the house of God was in Shiloh.
Yon, thank you for reading it. No, as it says, it's quite long, and it's about the Danites and their invasion and also their idolatry. If you don't remember mga ka-awesome, no, yun nangyari sa quick background lang or a backstory sa the Danites, sa tribe of Dan. Sila yung sa chapter 1, no, sila yung napaalis sa lupa nila ng mga Amorites kasi masyadong malakas yung Amorites that time. And hindi na nila pinatulan ulit. Naghanap na sila ng ibang lupa na titirhan nila. This, kahit pa yun yung set na land for them, no, na kumbaga, yun yung inheritance nila, pinabayaan na nila yon sa mga Amorites. Naghanap na lang sila ng iba na mas madali nilang makukuha. And obviously dito nahanap nila na walang walang kabuang-buang, di ba? Napaka-inosente nung nation na yon or nung town, basta yung lugar na yon, inatake nila. Because easy loot, easy win. Parang gano'n, no? And so, yun yung nangyari. And also, they took the idols, the ephod, and even the Levite, the priest of Micah. And pinag-away, muntik pa nilang pag-awayan, di ba? Ayun, which is, again, ando na naman yung word na pumapasok sa isip ko, ano to, anting-anting? Because it felt like they needed that to win the war that they're about to go to, even if it was going to be easy anyway. Ayun, and ang dami pa nangyari with the reading. So mga ka-awesome, share nyo naman yung thoughts nyo. Even if you have questions, feel free to comment there. And also your insights. Share nyo naman yung insights nyo. So una kong tatanungin, syempre, si Ate Cez. Ate Cez, what have you observed so far?
Okay, so sa beginning ng chapter, yun nga, yung migration ng tribe of Dan. So in here, we can see siguro yung parang consequence ng parang sins nila ng tribe. Kasi yun nga, nahirapan na silang i-conquer or parang hindi na nila kinonquer ulit yung allotted land na para sa kanila. So they went to naghanap sila ng other land na i-conquer nila. And they went to the mountains of Ephraim sa house ni Micah. So in Micah's place, nakita nila yung si young Levite who was hired nga by Micah. So I believe pag sinabing hired, may money involved to be his priest. So knowing this, nag-request yung mga Danites for the Levite to ask God kung may patutunguhan ba yung journey nila. So doon we can see na these Danites are yun nga spiritually parang confused na at that time. And I want to read out this commentary that I read a while ago. Yung sa part na yun, sabi dito, these Danites on a sinful mission met with a sinful Levite and wanted to know from a righteous God if their mission will be successful. Then the sinful Levite sent the sinning men on their way with God's blessing. So, grabe yung irony dun, no? So, di ba? Na-realize kaya nila yun na they ask a sinful man kung magiging successful ba yung journey nila. But yet, again, God was still with them. God was still with them. Or is he really? Kasi I'm not sure if yung Levite lang nagsabi dun na go in peace because God will be with you. Kasi parang hindi naman ata niya inask si God about that. So, yeah. So there, they continued their journey and found the land of Laish na, which was occupied by the Sidonians. So, na-miss ako sa description ng mga Sidonians. Quiet and secure and no ruler. So, how? Parang sila na, di ba ang galing? Kasi parang peaceful sila living there without a ruler. So, kaya siguro nga, Laish yung pinili ng mga Danites to conquer because it's easy. So, yun. So, dun muna. Kaya,
Sige. Thank you, Ate Cez. And no, ang ganda ng commentary. Sinful tribe asking guidance from a sinful priest or Levite, seeking guidance or parang inquiring of God who is righteous. So parang ironic talaga. And then ako din napatanong dito sa verse 6, sabi ng priest, go in peace. The Lord is watching over the journey you are going on. How did you know? Parang ganun kasi sa commentary naman dito sa Bible ko. Wala na, disconnected na siya kay God because he already, the Levite, I'm talking about the Levite, kumbaga, hindi na siya counted to be a servant because compromise na yung pagiging Levite niya. That's how it was explained here or kumbaga a comment from that. And to me, it makes sense because na siya ngayon employed in a way. Tapos hired nga Tapos he is serving a house with idols. Tsaka hindi lang idol made of, ano yun, asan na yung verse na yun? Hindi lang siya idol of God, no? A statue of God. Meron ding household gods. So that house of Micah, hindi lang si Lord yung wino-worship nila, actually, marami pang iba. So they worship multiple gods na halo na si God, the one true God, sa iba. So talagang hindi na pure itong bahay na to. So I don't think yung Levite dito is downfall na rin talaga yung spirituality nito. So it's very questionable. And again, the intention, they still acknowledge the Lord because hindi lang sila pumunta eh, 'di ba? They also inquired of the Lord. So kumbaga may remnant of the foundation that they had before nung baguhan pa lang silang Israelites, with the laws and commands. Pero nahaluan na ng impurity of the pagan practices because the consequences of their compromises before, when they were taking over the land, they chose to live with the Canaanites. And eto, naghalo-halo sila. And the cycle from the book of Judges, nung umpisa pa lang, di ba? They will worship other gods, they will be oppressed, they cry out to the Lord saves them, and then they worship pagan gods again. That cycle continues, and it would really poison your lifestyle, our lifestyle. So we can fall into the same trap, no? Now we think we're doing what is right, but we're not. But we think we are because nabahiran na lang impurity yung puso natin, yung pag-iisip natin. So they are now conforming to what is going on around them, their environment. Yun. And sabi din dito ni Kuya Jesse, key verse, yung verse 1. Ano ba nasa verse 1? Ayun. In those days, there was no king in Israel, and the Danite tribe was looking for territory to occupy. Ayun. So up to that time, no territory had been captured by them among the tribes of Israel. Ayun. Because napataboy nga sila ng mga Amorites. No? So sabi niya, when there is no king and anyone does what is right in their own eyes, so parang bahala na, true, or kanya-kanya, di ba? Kanya-kanya. And that also, napag-usapan din to kagabi, that kind of thinking, no? Na you have your own truth, I have my own truth, that can easily breed conflict. Because what if our truths don't match? Then we will just end up in a debate, who's right, who's wrong. We can coexist in understanding, but still, di ba, hindi pa rin kayo cool because you're living different truths compared to living the truth, the truth, which is the standards of God. So dagpa ni Kuya Jesse, pag kanya-kanya, magkakaproblema talaga eh, kasi walang standard. Ayun, anything goes, good or bad. Sabi naman ni Ate Kat, about the Levite, we should have the discernment kasi maraming nagsasabi ng parang sa tingin natin tama, pero mali naman pala. Totoo. So we have to also be discerning kung kanino tayo humihingi ng guidance, ng advice, di ba, mga ganyan. So we have to be discerning with those as well. And of course, si Kuya Arnel, malupit ang tagger. Thank you, Kuya Arnel. Ayan. And ano pa ba? Ayun. Tapos ito nga, yung nabanggit says, no, the land of Laish, talagang tahimik sila eh. They didn't even need a king to rule over them, but they're living peacefully. So that's how quiet the land is. Tapos ginulo ng mga Danites, di ba? Just because it was easy for them to take over this. So there was nothing lacking in the land and no oppressive ruler. I guess they had a ruler. Hindi lang siya oppressive. Maybe that's what it is saying. And they had no alliance with anyone. They were really a quiet nation. So, ayan. And tawagin ko ulit si Ate Says. Ate Says, what else have you observed?
Yun. So, in continuation with that, Kuya O, parang kaya siguro siya naging sinful mission. Kasi, di ba, yung pinakaunang missions ng mga Israel, yung kina-conquer lang nila is yung mga sinful lands. But, yun nga, yung Laish, parang hindi naman sila sinful, hindi naman nabangkit. So, yun. It's not God's plan. And, yeah. So, let's continue. And, so, yun. Bumalik na yung mga Danites. They reported back and they assembled an army of 600 men to fight for the land of Leish. So, in here, bakit kaya hindi na lang nila balikan yung land na para sa kanila talaga, di ba? Na parang binigay talaga ni God for them. Meron naman silang 600 men. So, yun. So, parang dun din siguro nawala yung trust nila kay Lord na now, kasi when God is with them naman, they can conquer yung land. And yun. So, they journeyed and passed through the house of Micah. So, I believe, parang nanakawan si Micah dito. Nanakawan siya. And yun, so, and then sa verse 18, the Levite priest saw them and asked, what are you doing? Sabi nila, and they said, be quiet, sabi nila. So parang trineten pa nila yung priest na yun, na tumahimik siya kasi yun nga yung ginagawa nila, nagnanakaw sila. And there, my God, and yun din, nakita rin ni Micah sila, tapos yun nga, nakakatawa, na nahuli sila ni Micah, and dito natin makikita yung parang idolatry nga ni Micah. Kasi sa verse 24, yung sinabi niya doon, you took the gods I had made and the priest and went away. What do I have left? How can you say to me, what's the matter with you? So yun. So first, parang nakakatawa kasi parang he got parang yun nga, meron naman siya mga gods, pero yung gods niya na yun, parang they can protect themselves naman, di ba? They can save themselves, so bakit pa niya kailangan i-save? Parang ganun. And then secondly, we can see na Micah really cared about yung mga possessions na yun and sa priest niya, na parang his faith nga depends on them. So it really proves na he committed idolatry. And we can learn from here. We can learn a lesson dun sa verse na yun. Na parang, yung commentary na lang basahin ko. We each either worship a God of our own making, or we worship the true God who made us. But the gods we make are always less than we are. Idol worship is just another way of worshiping self. So, yun. So, yeah. Dun muna kay O.
Sige, thank you.
Sige.
Kuya.
Yung sa sabi niya, what do I have left? Sabi niya. So, parang this shows na after yun nangyari na yun, Micah felt empty. Diba? Kapag tayo, we are serving a true God, we won't feel empty inside. So, yun.
Ayun. And I was gonna say that. Kasi yun din yung parang na-explain din or how it was revealed here. So, explained dito sa Bible ko that we invest on things like this. Just like how Micah invested on that silver idol, the ephod, the priest. Binabayaran niya lahat yan, di ba? The priest is, meron siyang, sahod. May sahod siya and all, di ba? So, obviously, Micah is investing on these material things too, for his faith, parang ganun. Doon niya nilalagay yung tiwala niya. And ang lakas ng impact ng verse na yun, yung sagot niya, no? Sa verse in 24, you took the gods I had made, and the priest, and went away. What do I have left? So kumbaga, walang natira sa kanya because these are all material things. But if we truly worship God like spiritually, and we have a relationship with Him that is genuine, that is true, nothing can take that away from us. Diba? Nothing can really take that away from us because the Lord is faithful. He will stay with us till the end of time. And it's really just up to us to keep it or not. If we choose to keep it, then nothing ever can take that away from us. So the contrast between those two, how empty Micah felt when everything was stolen from him. Na aawayin pa niya itong mga Danites, tapos natakot siya bandang huli. Sabi niya, malakas pala sila. Diba? Pero yung response niya nung ninakawan siya, sabi niya, anong walang natira sa akin? So, how can you say, what's the matter with you? Kumbaga, talagang concern siya. Talagang, alam mo yun, feeling niya nawalan siya because doon niya nilagay yung faith niya sa mga gods na ginawa niya. Diba? You took the gods I had made. Can you make a god? No, diba? We are made by God. It's medyo diba, skewed na talaga yung spirituality nila before. And, ayun, then the Danites kind of threaten him now. Huwag mo kami sisigawan or angry men will attack you. Ito, magkakapatid nito mga to, di ba? And the Danites went on their way. Micah turned, went back home. Because he saw that the Danites were stronger. And dun sa side naman ng Danites, no, we can see how yung downfall din nila, how their spiritual downfall was shown here is that if they really knew that the Lord was with them, there's no need for them to steal from Micah. These idols, this ephod, even the priest, there's no need for that because the Lord would be enough. Diba? But they still took that. Sabi pa nga dito sa verse sa bandang ibabaw. Ayun, so may nagsabi pa 5 men nagana did you know, verse 14, did you know that there are an ephod, household gods, and a carved image and a silver idol in these houses? Now think about what you should do. Parang ganun pa, sabi ng 5 men. So they detoured there para nakawan si Micah. So for them, it was important to steal from Micah because for them to win the war. Na sure win din naman kasi wala namang kalaban-laban ng, di ba? That land, nawala na yung pangalan niya. So ayun, really, the spiritual downfall in this part ng history is very, very obvious and very sad. And we can also fall into the same situation when we lose, if we take things for granted, diba? If we don't keep our heart in check, pwede tayong mahaluan din talaga ng ibang practices na we think it is right, but in the Lord's eyes, it's detestable. So we have to keep in check everything that we do, think or say, and everything that is in our heart. Sabi pa ni Arnel sa comment, parang sa panahon natin, yung totoo na haluan ng mga other beliefs such as mga pamahiin, ayan, na maituturing din na pagsamba. True, di ba? Yung pamahiin. Ang dami niyan. And also, it's very obvious din naman, yung mga binabasa natin ngayon, what in this present age, ano yung pareho? I believe meron, di ba? Kasi ang dami, hindi ko na rin babanggitin. Pero alam nyo yan, nakikita natin yan, naririnig natin yan. Maybe in the past, we used to say them as well. Nabanggit ko na yung isa, di ba? Na we think it's right to live the way how we live our lives how we want it, as long as, yung ganun may as long as, wala naman ako yung naapakang tao. Or, okay lang naman magsinungaling. Basta, gato ganyan. We compromise, we justify, but is it really right? We have to get to know the standards of the Lord, di ba? Ayun, so nahahaluan din talaga even today. Sabi ni Kat, so sa verse 24, nakadepende si Micah sa treasures niya. But the Bible is teaching us to depend not on treasures of this world, but on eternal things. Depend on God. Diba? Nothing can really save us from anything except God. Ayan. So, ano pa ba? Ayan. So, I guess a reflective question on this is, where do we invest? Diba? Saan tayo nag-i-invest? In our spirituality, in our spiritual lives, are we investing in our relationship with the Lord, or are we collecting things so that we feel we are with the Lord? Diba? That question is very important because sometimes it can be unknowingly ginagawa na pala natin siya. Ayun. So we have to be careful. Tawagin ko ulit si Ate Ces. Ate Ces, what else have you observed?
Ayan. So after they conquered na the land of Lish, they've been successful, but parang given na nga. And then makikita natin na parang nagsettled na nga sila, and they made their own they established their own mga idols. So ano kaya yun? 'Di ba kasi parang nag-start yun kay Micah, and then the rest followed. Parang na-realize kaya ni Micah yung nagawa nila na parang it affected the whole tribe of Dan. Diba? So, it's very sad ending. But, yeah, we can read more about that in the next chapters. So, I believe that's all my insights, Kuya Hope.
Awesome, thank you. And mukhang nabasa na ni Ses yung next chapter sa ayos. And anyway, dagdag ko lang dun sa na-share ni Ses, no, that they won. Yes. Ang ganda din kasi nung commentary dito, it also can help us with our faith, no? Not all wins na sa buhay natin is good, or it's a way of for us to know that the Lord is with us. Kasi dito ano nangyari? The tribe of Dan, already a sinful tribe, and then the Levite, who is already, he may be called a Levite, pero he's already in disobedience to the Lord. Tapos, they got the idols and the ephod and the priest. They went to war, they won. So, ngayon, tinayo nila yung statue. Diba? So, they think they won because of the Lord. But did they really? Diba? Because in the first place, Laish was an easy taking. Ayun. So, for us, we can do the same. The means does not justify the ending. Parang ganon. We can do bad things, tas we win. We have success. And then we say, oh, the Lord was with me. Is he? Parang ganon. So we have to check ourselves on that. Not all success it is allowed by the Lord, but it is not always because of him. Diba? Our ways can be skewed, our thinking can be skewed that way because of what? Again, diba? The influence of our environment, the influence of where we are, the people that surround us. Ang ganda nung pagkaka-emphasize dito sa commentary ko, which reminds me to check, to reconsider, to assess every success. Parang ganun. Was it really for the glory of the Lord, or did I win that selfishly? Parang ganun. We have to really think about the things that is happening around us. We cannot be passive. And sabi ni Arnel sa comments. Oh, by the way, as I read these comments, mga ka-awesome, papunta na tayo sa takeaways, responses for tonight. So type na rin yung responses nyo. Sabi ni Arnel, common reasoning ng tao, wala namang mawawala sa'yo. But the truth is, malaking mawawala sa'yo kasi sa spiritual warfare ay na-compromise yung faith na pinakamahalaga. That is true. Diba? So again, anong nangyari? Saan nanggaling tong common reasoning? Sa tao. Diba? So we have to really consider, and we have to be discerning about the things we hear, the things we read. We base it again, we go back to the standards of God to keep ourselves in check. Sabi naman ni Shobi, hello Shobi! Long time no hear, I hope you're okay. Sabi niya, assess, analyze what's going on in our life today. Any habit that impact negatively on what we become. It may not necessarily sinful, but it's going to be an obstacle. It's going to be a hindrance. Yun. So again, di ba? Our way of living, we have to be intentional about it. And wag naman din sana maging super critical, hyper critical about anything. Ba't nangyari to? Lahat tinatanong mo, why? But we have to be sensitive as well about the things that are happening with us. Are we still with the Lord? That is the most important question. And with the things that I'm doing, the things that are happening to me, am I still with the Lord? That's very important. Because we cannot just, sabay lang sa alon, di ba? And we still expect that we are with the Lord, like the Danites were, and even the Levites, who also acknowledged the Lord was with them. I don't know. Ayan, thank you, Shobi. And ayan, pupunta na tayo sa takeaways with our reading tonight. So before that, short emphasis lang on the downfall, spiritual downfall of the Israelites dito, heavily influenced by their environment, by the Canaanites whom they decided to live with in the first place. Ayan, so nakita na kay Micah and also the Danites. Ngayon, tuwagin ko na si Ate Ses for her responses sa reading natin tonight. Go ahead, Ate.
Okay, so for my takeaways, I believe medyo nasabi na rin sa mga comments, but I'll just repeat it. So first is, yun na nga, check ourselves. Tama po yun. Parang, let's ask ourselves questions na, do I have idols in my life? Or what or who are my idols in life, if meron man? And is my faith really in God or in things or people? Diba? Kasi sometimes, dahil sa busy natin, ang dami natin ginagawa, para nakakalimutan natin yung mga bagay-bagay na yun. And then second, again, nasabi na din kanina, in everything we do, may we do it all for the glory of God. Kahit ano lang, kahit yung mga the way we talk, diba? Are we talking to them parang in a loving way or in a ganyan, or how we mingle with people, ganun, mga ganun na bagay. And then, lastly, pray. Kasi mahirap talaga siya everyday, but let's pray that the Lord may show or reveal to us if ever na napapalayo na tayo sa Kanya, kasi yun nga, parang hindi natin maiwasan sometimes, but let's pray na God will guide us still along the way. So, yun.
Ayun, awesome. Thank you, Ate Sis. Yung first point, no, talagang, I think, napaka-importante talaga nun, yung self-check, yung heart check. Lagi rin nating naririnig yan, lagi rin pinapaalala. It just emphasizes on how important it is. And kung ako, meron naman akong response for tonight is that the things we think that is right is not always right for the Lord. Yun. So for us, it's right, but for the Lord, it's not. So again, what does that mean? What should we do then? Ayun pala ang question. What should we do? We go back to the standards of God, because that standard is always right. Because the Lord is always right? So when we think, that's why we seek His wisdom, we seek His guidance, we pray for it. That is important. No, because to us it is right. Then we go back to the principles, the teachings of God. Ay, hindi pala siya tama, di ba? And then we can be sure that we are still aligned, we are still with the Lord. That's very important. So still part of self-check, pero yun din the emphasis on what we think is right, because our rationality is imperfect. And sabi ni Kat dito, importante mag-self-reflect. I agree to this mismo. Kaya pukpok na pukpok si JD dyan. Magmuni-muni din kayo. Importante yun. Yung mga quiet moments niyo. That's very important. Sabi ni Joshua, naging callous na sila to the point na di na nila maramdaman yung guilt na gumagawa na sila ng masama. Totoo. Naging norm na yung sin. Even idolatry. Let's check our lives. Baka worldly na pala tayo at nalalayo na kay God. Imbes na mag-grow in Him. Complacency is an effective tool that the devil uses. That is true. Complacency, being passive, di ba? We sometimes we think we are contented, but we're not. We mistake contentment with complacency sometimes. So we have to be careful with that as well. Because totoo to, no, Josh? I agree to this. The devil uses that with our tendency as well as humans to, I'm tired, tinatamad ako ngayon. That can be used to target us. Dagdag pa ni Josh. Ayun. So Romans 12:2. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. That is true. And this is where they failed. They conformed to the practices of their world at that time, diba? The pagan practices, they worshiped other gods. And because of that, what happened? Yung transforming ng mind nila, it transformed for the worse. Because they worship the Lord, yes, but also alongside with other gods. So very skewed, just because they failed to cling only to the Lord. So for us, may reminder na tayo from Romans, di ba? So sana we learn from that and we live by that. Thank you for this, Kuya Josh. And all these things that we're saying, pukpok na pukpok din si Joey dito kagabi. Ang dali basahin, ang dali i-reflect, ang dali i-dissect, ang dali rin mag-quote ng mga verses, no? But it's difficult, very difficult, because we are always against our nature, our tendencies. So it is actually awesome that we have people here, may it be like virtual or maybe physical, that we are all in this together. Diba? Sabay-sabay tayo dyan. Let's continue to encourage, continue to remind one another. That's very important. And most importantly, pray for one another. Prayer is really, really, really powerful. And to stay with the Lord. Pray for each one, that each one will be guided by the Lord. Stay with Him. Ayan, si Kat, ang response niya for tonight, importante talaga yung foundation natin as Christians. Our faith, we should have that deep foundation in discernment para pag may dumating na situation, alam na natin yung response. And if we have that firm foundation, we have that peace, the peace na naka-align tayo kay Lord lagi. So we can still experience peace, wherein we can rest in the Lord because we know He got this. He got you and me. Diba? Yun eh, that faith. Amen to this, Kat and si Shobi. We must learn to be aware of those choices we are making and how those choices impact our future. Grabe itong takeaway ni Shobi. It goes back way, way before. Sabi dito sa Bible ko, it's been 300 years since they entered the promised land. And it took 300 years for them to fully realize and experience the bad impact of their decision to live with the Canaanites. Even though, yes, they use them as forced laborers, but still see the consequences. The Danites were empowered by the Amorites. Tapos tong mga Danites, they looked for another land and they left the Amorites alone. Ito yung impact ngayon, diba? So we have to, everything that we do now has a impact in the future. So we have to be careful with that. We have to learn and be aware of our actions and what can happen to our future by deciding at this moment that I will do this, I will say this. Meron at merong consequence. Thank you for the show, B. And okay, mukhang wala na. All right, so that is our episode for tonight about Dan's invasion and idolatry. Kita natin na ang saklap na ng situation nila before with idolatry and everything. Spiritual downfall is very evident in this time. And for us, let's be careful with that and learn from their experience. Okay, wala talaga kung wala na. Alright. Ay, si Arnel. Sabi ni Arnel, ang response niya, know all kinds of idolatry in our lives and earnestly seeking God to our lives, replacing any idols but God. Really important that all and anything. It is true. So we have to alamin natin yung mga gods natin. Gods, idols natin sa buhay. Because sometimes di natin napapansin eh. Lagi ko rin nababanggit na sometimes even ourselves becomes our idol. We put ourselves ahead of God. That's very dangerous. And hindi natin nahalata yun. Hindi natin napapansin. So we have to, again, self-check. Sabi nga ni Kat, totoo yun, self-check. Thank you for this, Arnel. Ayan. So, okay, wala talaga with that. Kita-kits ulit bukas, 9 p.m. onwards. Dito lang, same place, no? Facebook page, ABC, Awesome Believers Cross, and sa YouTube. YouTube channel, meron din tayo niyan. Let's continue to read the book of Judges. Tapusin natin ng sabay-sabay. Thank you, Ate Says, for being with us tonight and for your sharing, your insights. And Ma, thank you for... Madagdag pa si Mother dear. We cannot do whatever we want and expect God to bless us. Amen. God's blessings in life come when we trust and obey. Ayan naman yung word na lagi nating naririnig. It is because the foundation of how we move, no? Trust and obey. Thank you, Ma. And sana ako. And ayun, thank you na ako sa lahat. Thank you din mga ka-awesome. So for your comments, for reflecting with us tonight. So stay awesome, stay safe, stay healthy, please. And stay with Jesus. That's how we stay awesome. And ano pa ba? Na-mental block tuloy ako. Ayun, okay, naalala ko na. Continue to shine the light of Jesus wherever we may be, wherever we go, and continue to love one another with the love of Jesus. Ayun, God bless. Good night. Kita-kits bukas. And of course, don't forget to pray. Pray for everyone, mga ka-awesome. Bye.